Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you the final part in our How to Play SAS Rogue Regiment series. Vehicle units, when moving, will always do so at the beginning of either the Black Patrol phase or the Axis Advance phase. This will occur before infantry units, regardless of their proximity to the operators. Vehicles can move forward one square at a time, or they can move diagonally forward one square at a time, or they can turn for one square of movement. A vehicle can also make a reverse turn for 2 squares of movement. And finally, they can also reverse one square at a time. Both low and high walls will block vehicle movement. Buildings will, of course, also block vehicle movement, as will rock squares, water squares, and crates. Vehicles may pass through other Axis units, including both infantry and vehicles, as well as operator vehicles, as long as they end their movement in an empty space. If for any reason they wouldn't be able to clear this infantry unit, then it would actually stop here instead of moving on top of it and stopping. So essentially, the vehicle will move as many spaces as possible. Without ending its movement on top of another unit. Vehicles can move into squares containing hedges, as well as forest squares, at the cost of 2 movement points. This is for forward or reverse. It should be noted that this is for moving into a forest square, which means that if the vehicle is leaving the forest, the movement is calculated normally. Same, of course, if it's leaving a hedge square. Vehicles are allowed to partially leave the board in order to drive around buildings and other such obstacles. Axis vehicle units can see everything within a 90-degree field of view to their front for a distance of 8 squares, meaning if you draw a line off this corner and off this corner, they can see everything up to 8 squares within that cone. In some instances, they'll have forward line of sight as well as rear line of sight, as you can see here, since this individual is looking to the rear. However, they will never have peripheral line of sight, so everything to the sides they cannot see. Terrain underneath a vehicle, such as a hedge or a forest square, will never block line of sight. However, vehicles, even when alert, will block line of sight for all units, both Axis and operator. And again, this occurs even when the vehicle is alert. Speaking of alert, an alert Axis vehicle will advance on a spotted operator until they reach an optimal attack position in the exact same manner an advancing infantry will. If you have multiple Axis vehicles on the board, they will move in the order of proximity to the operator before any infantry move at all. As a reminder, when calculating the shortest route, you must include the number of movement points required, not just the spaces required. So, for instance, if the vehicle is going to go through a hedge or a forest, count that as 2 when determining the shortest route. During the Axis attack phase, the vehicles will attack just like infantry. And if you have a vehicle like this with rear and front line of sight, both sides will attack if they have a target. Vehicles will make reaction attacks, but only against operators currently in their line of sight. So for instance, if an operator were attacking from the side like this, the vehicle would not then turn to make the reaction attack. The heavy machine gun of the motorbike and the half-track can attack operators inside of buildings whether or not they actually have line of sight, as long as they do have range. However, it will subtract 3 from its attack roll. However, both of these vehicles are within short range of the operator, so while they would subtract 3 since they're attacking into a building, they would then add 1 for the short range. It should be noted, though, that these types of attacks will only occur during the Axis attack phase and only through a single building wall. In other words, if this motorbike were here and this operator were here, this motorbike would not attack through multiple walls to get to him. Attacks made from vehicles against operators within line of sight on interior window squares are calculated in the same way as an Axis infantry. Operators attack vehicles the same way that they attack infantry. You can use these vehicle damage tokens to show how much damage a vehicle has taken. When the total equals the vehicle's health value, so in the case of the half-track 5, the vehicle is destroyed and then immediately removed from play. It's important to keep in mind that an armored vehicle such as the half-track can only be damaged using explosives. In the base game, you can see here's the armor column. The half-track is the only armored vehicle. Patrol vehicles are highlighted in black on the mission sheet, as you can see here, and they follow a predetermined path, also laid out on the mission sheet. During the stealth section, these vehicle patrols will move their movement allowance at the beginning of each phase that black patrol moves on. This is easy to remember since the path is a dashed black line, and again, the vehicle itself is outlined in black. Patrol vehicles will drive onto the map at the indicated spot and also drive off the map, essentially spawning onto and off of the map. It is possible that as a vehicle is leaving the map, it could end up partially off the map like this. On the turn, when a vehicle drives completely off the map, turn it around and have it facing back onto the map in the same spot that it drove off. On its next turn, it will begin to patrol again in the opposite direction that it began. Similar to infantry on spawn tiles, when a vehicle is off the map, it cannot see or hear anything. Patrol vehicles will not rotate during the event phase, and they also don't rotate when they hear something, such as this operator killing this Axis soldier. However, when they hear something, they will still flip to the alert side. If, during their movement, a vehicle gains clear line of sight to either a corpse or an operator, they'll stop, they'll flip to the alert side. If the vehicle has gained clear line of sight to an operator, then the operator's token will, of course, be replaced with the spotted version. A convoy is highlighted in white, as you see here, and follows a predetermined white dotted line path in the mission sheet. Convoys will maintain their formation as shown on the mission sheet. A convoy vehicle will never end its movement within 2 squares of any other convoy vehicle. Every vehicle in the convoy will always move at the slowest speed of any vehicle in the convoy. In the case of the motorbike, we've got a speed of 10. The truck has a speed of 8, so the speed of the convoy is going to be 8. Convoy vehicles will flip to the alert status, following the same rules as any other vehicle. And armed convoy vehicles, such as the motorbikes, will attack in the Axis attack phase if they have an operator within their line of sight. However, alert convoy vehicles do not leave their designated path. They always remain on the convoy route and never advance towards a spotted operator. The one exception would be if the convoy has a scout vehicle. You can tell if there is a scout vehicle in the convoy because, for instance, on Mission 6, you can see this motorbike is outlined in blue instead of white. That means this is a scout vehicle. And also over here in the key, it will tell you Axis Motorbike Scout. So it makes it clear on multiple levels. So for instance, if this were a scout vehicle, it would follow the normal rules during the stealth section. But if the alarm sounds, it will, of course, become alerted, and then it will advance towards spotted operators instead of following the normal convoy rules. The truck requires 2 movement points to make a turn. So if it gets to a turn that it needs to make and only has a single movement point left, it will need to wait until the next time it makes a move to complete that turn. As a result of this, it's possible that the convoy spacing will increase from 2 spaces to 3 or 4, etc., especially depending on how many turns there are in the route. Despite this, even if the spacing gets widened, no vehicle will ever move faster than the convoy speed limit. It should be noted that if an operator is standing in the convoy path when it's time for the convoy to move, they will get run over and instantly killed. A guard vehicle is highlighted in yellow, like this half-track on Mission 7. A guard vehicle will stay in the position assigned and maintain their facing even when alerted. A guard vehicle will maintain its position and maintain its facing up until a spotted operator is actually on the map. If they simply have heard an operator, they still will not change their position, even though they will become alerted. Assault vehicles are highlighted in red, as this half-track and motorbike and half-track are. An assault vehicle is placed on the edge of the map, wherever the mission sheet shows it is, and it will do absolutely nothing until the alarm is sounded. At that point, they flip to the alert status and then enter the board during the Axis Advance phase. And that covers everything you need to know how to play the game. Now, there are a few other pages that I did not cover in this series. We have a section for Axis units that goes through each individual type of unit. We have a section for the various objects and equipment you might end up using, as well as a section describing the various operator vehicles you may end up using. Generally, I find it's easiest that as one of these becomes used in the game, as you run into SMG infantry, officers, mortar teams, as you end up with a sniper rifle or a trap, then I go into the rule book, I refresh my memory on that specific item, anything, any special cases that it might have, that sort of thing, and refresh my memory that way to remember how it works and what I can use it for. Particularly with things like the scuba gear, the grappling hook, things that you don't use necessarily every single scenario, but may have occasion to. Same thing with the operator vehicles. Whenever the rowboat shows up in a scenario, I'll refresh my memory on that. If I have Willie's Jeep in a scenario, then I'll refresh my memory on how being attacked works and being heard and seen and all of that. And be sure to use the index on the back of the rulebook. Very, very helpful. Makes it easy to find stuff in the rulebook. I've only had a couple of occasions where I've tried to find something here and couldn't, and had to dig a little deeper to find what I was looking for. So thanks so much for watching this series. I know the third part took a little while to come out, so I appreciate your patience on that. We will be digging into Dungeon Universalis next and finishing up that series as well before we start any other instructional series. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to come back, check out all the other great things we got on the channel, and until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.